From the Siouxland News Studio, the Wayne State Basketball Coaches Show with Sports Director Jordan Furby.
And welcome in, everybody, to another edition of the Wayne State Coaches Show. We're joined this week by Wayne State women's head coach Chris Kielsmeier. Chris, thanks for joining us once again.
Thanks for having us again,
Absolutely. Well, looking back to last weekend's game, we'll start with Friday night. Just a great top 25 matchup between yourselves, ranked number 8th in D2, and number 17, Northern State. A battle all the way to the end, but the good guys ultimately came out on top, 67-63. Just a real top 20, like we said, top 25 battle right until the end. What was kind of the things that stood out for you about this game?
Well, I was very proud of our players' preparation throughout the course of the entire week. Northern State's a very difficult team to prepare for, and so it required a lot of practice and a lot of reps throughout the course of the week. We practiced a lot harder and a lot longer than what we had been. So this time of year, you try to pull them back a little bit. And, we just asked a lot from them throughout the course of the week, and they really responded well. Didn't necessarily play great on Friday, but certainly played well enough to win the game and made a lot of plays down the stretch of the game. And I'm just very, very proud of our players, very proud of our program to step up and win a big game. I thought the environment in the gym was great. It's great support by the community and the school. It was just a great day for our program. It was a great day for Wayne State College.
And you got a great effort out of a couple of players. Well, 3 that we'll mention. Ashton had 18 points. Ellen Hansen's really been coming along as of late, 17 points for her. And then Jordan Spencer with the nice double-double of 10 and 10. Really 3 players that have come along great for you guys lately, and kind of nice to be able to lean on them, especially in the clutch.
Well, those 3 are all upperclassmen. All have played in a lot of big games in their careers at Wayne State College. So you really expect your best players to step up and play really well this time of year, and that's what those 3 did. But you just really got to give the credit to our entire team, all of our players. I just thought it was a great team effort, and we just found a way to win the game and hit a couple big shots late in the game and hit free throws down the stretch, got the stops when we needed to, and just found a way to win a really big game, not only for the conference standings, but regional standings as well. So we gained a lot on Friday night, and it was a big step forward for us.
Yeah, you guys took the 2-game lead in the conference with the win on Friday. Saturday night, it seemed like the emotions maybe ran over a little bit from Friday night, a very emotional game on Friday. Tough loss versus MSU Moorhead, 61-50. Just seemed like a tough night shooting and also with rebounding with the team.
Well, emotionally, we were flat in the morning. Shoot around wasn't one of our best. Pre-game was pretty quiet, and it just seemed like all day we just couldn't get our players going emotionally and just get their attention. Hey, this is a really tough game tonight, and this is just as big a game as what last night's was. And we were just flat all day. And when the game time came around, we played that way. And we didn't defend them very well at all in the second half. Offensively all night, we didn't play very well, and we didn't rebound all night on Saturday night. So rebounding continues to be a major concern and something we have to get better with, and we've really concentrated on that this week in preparation for tonight's game. And we got to make sure that this doesn't happen again. You can't be as flat as what we were emotionally any day, let alone on a big game. And we'll learn from it. Our players will become a stronger and better team from it, and hopefully it doesn't happen again, because there's a lot at stake every time that we take the floor, and we got to make sure that we're ready to play.
Another player we do actually want to sneak in there too is Millie Niggling. She had a great night on Friday night and then followed it up with a great night. I believe 19 points on Saturday too. Speak a little bit about her effort. coming in, because she's one that transferred in. Obviously she's from the area, going to Heelan here in Sioux City, but just talk about her effort. It seems like every night she's always bringing it, right, and oftentimes off the bench.
Well, Millie played great all weekend and has brought a lot to our program. We've talked about this on the show a little bit in the past. Early on, she just had to learn how to work at our level and had to learn how to work at a really highly successful program. The program that she came from before, she just didn't have a lot of success, and I don't think the work ethic was there, because that was what the standard was. And when she got to our program and she figured out how we were going to do things, she really wanted to adjust and be able to do things the way we wanted her to do it. Sometimes it just takes time to develop that attitude, and that's what it did with her. And once we got her accustomed to how we do things, she's responded great and been great for us all year, and has really made us a lot better program, and we're lucky to have her.
Absolutely. We'll coming up after the break, we'll talk to Coach Kielsmeier about the final game of the regular season on the road at Upper Iowa with a 1-game lead in the conference. We'll talk more about that coming up after the break.
Siouxland News presents the Wayne State Coaches Show on Fox 44.
And welcome back to the Wayne State Coaches Show. We're joined by women's head coach Chris Kielsmeier. Chris, Hard to believe, but we're here to the final game of the regular season. You guys got a road game against Upper Iowa. You guys also were at Winona State last night. Looking at the conference standings, now that we can kind of get into the last week of the season, you guys have a one-game lead. Pretty much you control your own destiny. A win tonight, and you guys will pretty much wrap up the regular season title outright. It's kind of a nice situation to be in, but it's not going to be an easy battle for you guys. Upper Iowa is a tough team.
Well, we knew going into this week that if we won both games that we would be regular season conference champs outright, and so we knew that tonight's game was going to mean a lot, and there was going to be a lot at stake. But it's important for our players just to play the game, just relax and do the things that you've done all year to be successful. I really don't want our players thinking when they miss a shot or what they make a bad mistake that this might cost us a conference championship. Don't allow yourself to think that way, and it's a lot easier to say than it is to actually do it.
Yeah.
But the game just has to be about game number 29. We've played 28 games up to this point, and we've done a lot of things right in those games to be a successful program this year. So, let's just continue to do the things that we've done. Play game number 29 like it's the most important game of the year, just like we did the first 28. And when we have that kind of mindset and we play well, it'll be good enough to win.
Now, matchup-wise, Upper Iowa is a very scrappy team. You've kind of told me how well they play at home. What are kind of the matchup problems that will present for this game? Obviously, this is a team you guys just played 2 weeks ago, so the familiarity will be there.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. I just don't know what they're going to do defensively. When we prepared the first time for them, we had practiced a lot for a 1-2-2 half-court trap and extend out three-quarter, a lot of different zone-type stuff. And they played us 40 minutes of man-to-man. So in preparation for this game, we've had to really talk to our players defensively. You might get anything, and we've got to make sure that we're ready for whatever they're going to give us defensively. Because, again, like I said the first time, we were off as a coaching staff with what we thought they were going to give us. And, so from that standpoint, you've got to be ready to handle a lot of different looks defensively because they're going to throw a lot of different things at you. Offensively for them, we've got to make sure the perimeter is covered. They're going to shoot a lot of threes, and we've got to make sure that they don't hit those threes. And they're a very good team at home. They're a very scrappy team that loves playing at home, and they play hard. And so we really realize that even though we just beat this team 2 weeks ago pretty handily by 20-some points, that's in the past and really has nothing to do with tonight. So we really need to make sure that we're ready to play and come out and play at a high level.
And it's always tough to win on the road in the conference and stuff. And this is just another conference test for you guys. And if you win, it's you get rewarded for the test.
Well, it's another back-to-back in the Northern Sun, and we've talked a lot about that on this show, how you can come out flat on those days, and we just can't let that happen. There's so much at stake for us playing each time that we take the floor that if you're going to get beat, make sure you got beat playing well, and it just wasn't good enough that night. It was not because of something you didn't do. You don't want to have regrets moving forward this time of year. Leave it all out there emotionally and physically, and when that happens, there's a good chance that that's going to be good enough. And if it's not, you can still feel good about it, and that's the way I want our players thinking. And
then looking just a little bit ahead, coming up next week, you guys will most likely host the first round of the conference tournament down at Rice. We've kind of had this conversation a couple times where maybe this team hasn't reached its peak yet, and I guess it's good that that's possible, but this is maybe the time where we can start seeing that peak be reached, and that's where you want to be playing your best basketball in the conference tournaments and going into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, for sure. This is where you need to be at your best, and the teams that are playing at their best right now are the teams that are going to move on. The teams that play into March, they're all talented teams. They all have great players. They all have proven that they can win a lot of big games. It's the teams that are playing their best right now that move on. And for us, I don't feel like that's happened yet. The first time we played Winona, I thought we played probably the most complete game of the year. And I think we were really good that night. But there hasn't been very many games this year where I felt like, we played great. And I think that's coming. I really believe that we can play great basketball each and every day moving forward, and that's what needs to happen for us to be able to play deep into March, which is our goal right now.
All righty, well, it starts tonight, the final game of the regular season at Upper Iowa. Tip-off is at 4 o'clock. Coach, thanks for joining us once again.
Sure thing.
All right, well, coming up next, we'll hear from men's head coach Brian Dolan on the Wildcats' final game of the regular season against Upper Iowa. That's after the break. And welcome back. We're joined now by men's head coach Brian Dolan. Coach, hard to believe that we're at the final game of the regular season already, but taking a look back at last weekend, you guys faced two tough teams, two teams that are kind of right at the top of the conference standings. Friday night, very tough game against Northern State, a team that just seemed catch fire and really never cool off. 62% shooting, and they knocked in 10 3-pointers out of 20 throughout the game. Just like you said, just a tough team to face, and they were definitely at their best.
Yeah, they've just been on a little bit of a losing streak. They'd lost 4 in a row, and games that they could have won 2 or 3 of those games, and they just didn't get it done late. And so, they're a better team than the record probably indicates. Probably just as good as Moorhead, to be honest with you. And so we knew when they came in, they were going to be ready to go because they were trying to stay in that 4th seed area so they could get a home game in the conference tournament. And it was back and forth there for a little bit. When they got hot there, they went 9 for 11 at one point from the 3-point line, and not a whole lot you can do about it. They run a good motion offense and guarded it well there for a little bit, and not as well there late in the first half. But I thought our guys did a nice job. They kept competing and trying to stay in the game. We were cold, they were hot. That's a bad combination. No matter who you're playing, so it just didn't work out for us.
And then looking at Saturday night, definitely seemed to me like a different team that emerged on the floor. It was obviously senior night, final regular season home game for the men. And what can you say about Jared Bartley? I mean, just a great game for him. He literally saved the best for last.
Yeah,
24 points, career high for him, 10 rebounds. And he wasn't the only senior that played well. You got effort from all 4 seniors, and it seemed like just that close to being in the end. Effort-wise, I felt like it was a win for you guys. Obviously, the final score didn't indicate it, but still a great effort game for the boys down there.
Yeah, Moorhead, they're not going to wow you with their defense. So you almost have to outscore them. That's what they're trying to do, and they put up, I think, it was 94, 95 points, and we guarded them a little bit better than we did the night before. We put them on the free throw line way too many times. We shot the ball a little bit better Saturday night than we did Friday night. Kind of kept us in the game. Seniors did a nice job scoring. What did you say, 62 of the
84?
Yeah, that's a large majority of the baskets. But they did a great job. I mean, they came in their last game in Rice and they competed. They kept us in the game. We could have laid down a couple of times. Moorhead went on some runs, and the difference between Saturday night and Friday night was we stopped Moorhead's runs and answered back with one of our own to keep us in the game. And when it all came down to it, we just didn't have enough firepower to keep up with Moorhead. But there's a good chance we might see them again here in a couple of days in the first round of the conference tournament. So if that's the case, then now we know what we can do against them, figure out a way to guard them a little bit better and see if the result will be different.
Just talk a little bit about, the seniors. Obviously, it was senior day last Saturday, and it's a unique situation always when a first-year coach is coming in, because you have to manage the team that is there, obviously, but it wasn't guys that you necessarily recruited, but it's guys that you've coached against. So it's a unique situation. What's it kind of been like with these 4 guys? Obviously, it's an adjustment for both the players and the coaches, but just speak a little bit about the seniors and what they've gone through this year and kind of what you've noticed with them.
Well, it's been interesting because you're getting to know them while you're coaching them. That's usually not the case. I mean, you get to know kids better while you're coaching them, but you don't usually getting to know them for the first time. And so I thought the 4 of them did a nice job of buying in and trying to do what we asked them to do the right things and be leaders for us the best that they could. Because it was new for everybody, but you still expect the seniors to be leaders. So while they're learning, they're still also having to be leaders. So you put them in a tough situation. But I thought they handled it really well. They're 4 great young men. They all have bright futures in whatever they choose to do. I know they wish the season had been a little bit better for them, as do I, of course. But sometimes you just played the cards that you're dealt, and I couldn't have asked for better effort or better attitudes from them than they gave all year. So I'm proud to be their coach, and I wish them the best of luck in the future.
All righty, well, one final game coming up tonight at Upper Iowa. We'll get Coach's thoughts on the game coming up after the break. And welcome back to the Wayne State Coaches Show. We're joined by head coach Brian Dolan. Brian, final game of the regular season. First year's flown by for you. You get a final game tonight, and a little bit of an interesting storyline for you personally. I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but you get to go back to where you came to Wayne State from, Upper Iowa. You get a final game against the Peacocks. Biggest things you're looking for tonight's game? Obviously, there's a little bit of history with you personally, and it's their senior night as well.
Yeah, it is their senior night, and myself and the staff that was there with me recruited all these seniors. So it'll be nice to be there on senior night because they're all good kids, and family's really close with all of them. They're really good with my kids, and they all mean a lot to us still today. So bittersweet that I get to go back there. I'm not really looking forward to some of it, but looking forward to watching those guys get honored on their senior night. But once that ball goes up again, just like it was a couple weeks ago, we're there to win a game, and they're trying to win a game to move up in the standings, and we're trying to win a game to position ourselves where we want to be in the standings for the conference tournament. So it'll be a tough fought contest, but it'll be nice to see some old friends and. But we're here now. We're Wayne State Wildcats now, and we love it at Wayne, and we don't look back at our decision at all, and with nothing but happiness, and we're looking forward to building the same type of program here that we did at Upper Iowa.
Now, was this a fluke scheduling-wise that this just happened like this, or did they actually intend to have you kind of go back for this?
This year I wouldn't say it's a fluke. This year it's intentional. The fact that we have to do it again next season might be a little bit more intentional, but Yeah, we go back there on senior night again next year too, which again, I'll be fine with that as well, because those juniors, it's going to be seniors, are very close to me as well. So it'd be nice to be there when they have their senior night too. So, yeah, I would say this year was just a coincidence. This next year, not so much.
Not so much. Not so much. Well, looking at the game actually tonight, matchup wise with Upper Iowa, this is a team you guys played just 2 weeks ago, coming off a hard fought game in that one. Biggest things that you're going to see maybe trying to change tonight versus 2 weeks ago?
You know, I thought 2 weeks ago, I thought we did a nice job initially of keeping them in check offensively. I mean, they want to play fast. They want to set a lot of ball screens. They have some odd pieces out there right now. They don't have a true big. And so they're playing, 5 perimeter guys. I won't say 5 guards, but 5 perimeter guys. The guy they have playing the 5, they set a lot of ball screens with him, trying to get him to pick and pop. And I thought we guarded that really well last time. Where they beat us was we were sloppy on the offensive end. I mean, just absolutely horrendous taking care of the basketball. We shot a good percentage, but we turned the ball over 20+ times. We can't do that tonight. We got to take care of the basketball. We got their weakness is probably on the defensive end. We've got to make them guard us. They want to play fast. We need to run some clock. We need to make this more of a football game. We need to be like Big Ten style football, Iowa style here, and ball control and field position. All that stuff's going to be real important tonight. If we can make them play in the half court, I like our chances to win the game. If it gets going, last game they sped us up, turned us over. We took quick shots, led to transition baskets for them, and that's when they're at their best, when they can score, going 94 feet. We want to make them score in the half court. We think we can score them in the half court if we take care of the basketball.
And then looking just a little bit ahead after tonight's game, you guys get the NSIC tournament. We'll be going on the road.
Yep.
Do you know yet who will be playing? Most
likely it's going to be at Moorhead.
Okay.
And so, I like that matchup. I do. I think that, if we, again, kind of just like the Upper Iowa thing tonight, their strong point isn't defensively, and so we shot the ball better against them, Moorhead, the other night, and if we can fix some of that defensive mistakes that we made, keep them off the free throw line. I think we sent them there 47 times last weekend. If we keep them off the line and we can make a few more shots, I mean, the game's going to be tight going down the stretch, and a conference tournament, they're supposed to win. We're not. Pressure's on them. We can just get to go play.
Anything can happen. But first, again, last game of the regular season coming up tonight at Upper Iowa. Coach, we'll bring Coach Kielsmeyer back and get both coaches' thoughts on the game against Upper Iowa coming up after the break. Stay with us. And welcome back. We're now joined by both head coaches of the men's and women's team. Chris, we'll start with you. Final game of the regular season tonight. Play a good Upper Iowa team at their place tonight. Biggest 3 keys you see in the final game?
Well, key number 1, we need to play game number 29. We need to approach it as if it's just another game, and we've played a lot of big games this year, and just go out and play a game, not worry about it being for a conference championship or to put too much pressure on yourself. Just go play the game that you love. Play game number 29 just like you have the first 28 games, and put yourself in a position to play well, and that'll be good enough. Defensively, we need to defend the perimeter. They're going to shoot a lot of threes on us, and if you ask how can you get beat tonight, it's them shooting the ball really well and us not defending those shots. And the third key, offensively, we need to be prepared for whatever they're going to give us defensively, because we feel like there's so many different things that they can do tonight. We've got to make sure that whatever they do defensively to us, that we execute our offense really well and just step up and hit shots when we get them, and just, again, play game 29 and just be confident.
Alrighty, and Brian, same thing. Obviously, you're going up against the old squad tonight for the final game of the regular season. 3 biggest keys you see in this game.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I think that when they came to our place a couple weeks ago, we shot it well, but we had 22 turnovers. And we also took some really quick shots. And I think the turnovers and the quick shots led to some runouts for them and some easy buckets in transition. So we've got to eliminate their easy baskets. On the offensive end for us, we've got to make them guard us. If we make them guard us, then we can wear them down a little bit. We know we're going to get good looks because they're really trying to outscore us, but we want to keep it in half court. And then on the other end of the floor, we got to make them score in the half court. We got to make them earn their points. They're going to score the ball. They're going to score a lot of points. But if we make them earn it, limit their possessions, and maximize our possessions, I think we have a great chance to win the game tonight. I really do. I think it's going to be a fun environment. Going to be a lot of people there, I got a feeling, and it's going to be fun for our guys. You don't get to play in front of that type of atmosphere a whole lot. It's going to be packed in there, so they're honoring their seniors. So I think it's going to be a great environment. But I think if we really make it a half-court basketball game, coming down the wire, it could be a really close basketball game, and we'll have a chance to pull it out.
And I know we saw Coach Kielsmeyer's big cutout head last week at Rice. Apparently, you've got one that they're going to be using this week, right?
Yep, they took ours from Rice a couple weeks ago, and they're going to use it tonight. They promised me they'd give it back to me. They took it out of the stands when the game was over. Former player of mine said he'd give it back to me after the game on Saturday, so it'll be fun.
Well, best of luck to you guys again tonight. Both games at Upper Iowa. That's going to do it for the Wayne State Coaches Show. We'll see you back here next week.
This has been the Wayne State Coaches Show, presented by Siouxland News on Fox 44.